Hello, my fellow writers. It's been a hot minute since I've been here last, and, well, I feel like this is becoming a bit of a habit for me. A habit I would very much like to stop. In any case, I am back to YouTube and hopefully here to stay. But with that, I am here with an announcement. I'm rebranding. I'm doing things completely different than what I was doing before because, frankly, it wasn't working. So, where that sits is, where have I been this whole time? Because I moved, I finished school, and I just never came back to YouTube, and there's a very clear reason for this. What it all came down to was things stopped being fun. And when things stopped being fun, I didn't really want to do them anymore. And it all started when I wanted to start doing traditional publishing. And, well, as soon as I made that decision, all the joy in writing just kind of left. And I kind of took a good long while, probably like 6 to 8 months, just considering where I wanted to go as an author. Did I just want to continue writing just for me and not bother publishing? Did I want to actually consider traditional publishing despite losing any and all enjoyment out of it? Or did I want to go back to self-publishing and go through the pain of potentially spinning my wheels and making absolutely no money whatsoever? And what it all came down to was I decided I wanted to do self-publishing. But with that, I kind of had to realize that what I was doing was not working at the same time. And because that wasn't working, I have to actually do something different than what I had been doing before, which was essentially just release a book, tell a bunch of people about it, and hope to hell they purchase it. The marketing was kind of very much non-existent, and I was kind of lazy about it. And when I wanted to do like a whole thing with it, I ended up not, mostly because my beta readers really fell through, and that kind of put me into a bit of a depression spell, and I kind of stopped caring. And while the book in and of itself is great, it's not one that I bothered to market or do anything with, despite having all these plans to market. Yeah, with that, I'm going to actually be learning how to market. I've been reading books, I've been doing all sorts of stuff to try and get myself better at it, and there won't be a book release until I have like enough marketing supplies to bother doing this with. But anyway, let's get back to the concept of rebranding and what I am doing with myself. So, for the first while, I've been considering myself as a science fiction author, and that really wasn't meshing with me. I don't know what it was that just wasn't hitting right. I think it's just because sticking to one genre just kind of bores me, so I considered myself a multi-genre author, but then I found myself going here, there, and everywhere and not really having a focused path. So, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be rebranding into a horror author. Mostly because I just really, really enjoy the genre of horror. It's a genre where I came to really rekindle my love for it this past year. And just going forth with that, I think, is going to be really good. Like, the last two books I wrote, actually, have both been horror novels, and they're both books that I'm genuinely proud of. They're books that I really feel like could be really good and sell really well and have people really enjoy them. So yeah, horror author. It's going to be awesome. I'm not going to just do horror, though, because, as I said before, sticking to one genre, that's boring. That's kind of just not what I want to do. I want to be free to write the books that I want to write. So there will be books in the science fiction genre and fantasy and a couple of mysteries here and there. I'm going to be doing the books that I want to write. And most of them are going to have horror elements. There might be some with science fiction elements to them. The next thing I wanted to go over is, what about my past books? Because rebranding, I still have those books attached to me, which means I am going to be pulling those books. It's going to be a temporary thing. Like, these books will be coming back out, but I'm a better author than what I was when these books were released and written. And I kind of want that to reflect in how these books are. So I'm going to be pulling them and I'm going to be rewriting them and re-editing, and there's going to be some books where they get a complete and total overhaul. They'll be longer, they'll be better, they will be all these things that the book should have been to start with. Some of them are going to have like just some extra scenes here and there, and maybe a little bit more justifications as to what happens throughout the book. And some of them are not going to change all that much. Might clean up some of the writing, might clean up a little bit here and there, maybe a couple extra scenes, but for the most part, they're not going to change much. I'm not going to tell you which one's which because, want to have some fun with it. That said, though, I am going to be pulling these books December 31st. So if any of you as my readers want to have a physical copy of these books before they're pulled, I'd say get them now. Because, yeah, I'm pulling them the 31st, and I don't know when Amazon will be all like, yeah, no, we're just not going to be doing that anymore. I don't know when Amazon's just going to be all, well, they've been pulled, so we can't ship these now. Sorry. Because, it's Amazon. They're a useful tool, but that's about as far as it goes. The next thing I want to mention is that I'm not going to be appearing on camera as much. I don't feel like I have the energy on camera to keep an audience entertained. Like, I feel like my voice in general has enough energy to it. At the very least, enough personality to keep an audience going. And, hey, now you can listen to what I have to say in terms of what I'm doing with writing or any of my writing advice while doing stuff out and about or in the house without actually having to watch what I'm doing. Because, yeah, unfortunately, I just don't have that on-camera charisma that I think I really need. So with that, I'm just going to have still images. Mostly because I really just don't know what I want to do with this or where I want to go with this. I might see if I can get an artist to do like a couple still cartoony images of me, and then I can just interchange them here and there as to where I want them to be, so on and so forth. I don't know. I'll figure it out as I go. And now, let's talk about my being here on YouTube. Because, well, I really do want to continue doing YouTube. Now that I'm actually feeling like I've got a fire in my belly, and I really want to start doing this again, and I really want to start building my audience back up, and getting people interested in what I'm doing, and my work, and everything else going forward. I do want to continue using YouTube, and to do that, I realized that I actually need a set schedule, not just release a video every Saturday, because that is just not working for me. It wasn't working. It was all over the place. I was doing like 2-3 weeks of like writer tags, and as entertaining as they are, I don't think they're really that great of content. I'm still going to do them here and there, but with that, I actually do have a schedule on how I want to do things. So the first Saturday of the month is going to be my author opinions. Essentially writing advice, but I don't really call it advice because there's always caveats and exceptions to whatever rule that I or any other author can give. Because, let's face it, writing is an art, and as an art, it is something that actually has, it has rules. It does not have set laws. So an author can do something completely different or show something completely different despite everything else going against it and having it work. So I call it author opinions. The second Saturday of every month is going to be explaining everything that I've done throughout the last month. So the books I've read, how I'm going in terms of my writing and what projects that I'm working on, things going in my personal life, so on and so forth, because, it's something interesting to talk about. The third Saturday of every month is going to be a miscellaneous video. It'll be something just to kind of break the mold, so I can do like a writer sprint. I can talk more in detail the projects that I'm working on. I can talk more about myself. I'm actually thinking about doing and getting back into book reviews. Although, if I'm going into book reviews again, be it indie books or traditional books, I will be doing exclusively horror books in terms of reviews. Maybe the odd science fiction and fantasy, but those will be very few and far between, mostly because I'm finding it really hard to find fantasy and science fiction that I really connect with, where horror seems to be a much easier genre for me to enjoy. The last Saturday, the fourth Saturday, is going to be whatever horror recommendation that I have. So if I found a book or an album or a TV show or a movie that I particularly enjoyed, and it doesn't necessarily have to be new, it's just something that was new to me that I discovered throughout the last month or 2 months that I decided, hey, this is really cool. I want to spread this around, especially if I don't feel like it's particularly mainstream. Like, I'm not going to go on and talk about Five Nights at Freddy's. Everyone knows Five Nights at Freddy's. But if there's something that I found that, hey, I really enjoyed, I will do a I'll be doing it during the horror recommendations. And in the odd time where there's a fifth Saturday, I will be recommending an author to you guys. And this is an author of any genre. It doesn't necessarily have to be horror. There's one that I want to do who writes science fiction, and she does fantastic science fiction. There's one that actually does do like sci-fi horror, who I think is a fantastic author. So I want to do particular author recommendations, mostly through indie authors. And yeah, this is basically where I want to go and how I plan to start doing things going forward. It's not going to be particularly easy. It's going to be a bit of a struggle to get back into the swing of things. But I think it's something that I'm going to be able to do moving forward. The only exception to the schedule list is going to be the last weekend of every year, which is going to be every book that I read this year. And that is just mostly because, hey, I typically go through a lot of books, either through reading or audiobooks or what have you. There's a lot of books, and this year is so many books. But yeah, that's the schedule, and that's a schedule that I'm going to be sticking to, mostly because I kind of need to, because otherwise I'm going to get flustered and lost, and it's just going to be the easy video every time. And that's not what I want. That's not what I want to do. That's a part of what killed it for me. Ooh, also, I'm considering doing readings of my short stories on my YouTube channel. Let me know if you want to hear some of them. I have one. The last video I did before this one, actually back in March, was a short story reading. It got a couple views, and the comments have been quite favorable, so that's something. But let me know. I'm not particularly concerned over that just yet. If there's interest, then I will get more into it, but otherwise, it will be what it is. In any case, that is the entirety of the update. Let me know if there's anything that you as my audience would like to see me do in terms of a video, or if you have any recommendations on how to present myself in my videos in terms of still images, or if there's like a VTube sort of thing that I can figure out, or anything like that. So, as per usual, keep writing everyone, and have a great day.